Okay, so we're on page 235 in this Tzurba Merabanan volume 23, or Chaim, and we're dealing with Hilchot Chol HaMoed. Now, in the last year, very briefly, we had a major machloket. Was malacha on Chol HaMoed d'oraita, or was it d'Rabanan? There are two sides. We have Rishonim this way, Rishonim that way. L'ma'aseh, HaMoed holds that malacha on Chol HaMoed is a d'Rabanan. Okay, the Ramban Nachmanides has an in-between shita that there is a set of malachas that is d'oraita on Chol HaMoed, and then there's a set that's d'Rabanan. So there's both that exist according to the Ramban. However, halacha l'maaseh, Chamav says in cases where there's suffix, cases where there's a reasons to be makel, one can because it is d'Rabanan. Now, in the end of the day, whether he holds d'Rabanan d'oraita, we all say that the Chachamim had the power to tell us what the malacha was, like what is considered malacha on Chol HaMoed. We saw the Yerushalmi that the reason why malacha, certain malachot are asur on Chol HaMoed, is because we want you to spend Chol HaMoed correctly, which means is you should enjoy the moed, you should enjoy the holiday. If we're going to let you do all malachot, then you're going to go to work and you're going to be busy with everything else, and you're not going to even know it's the holiday. It's going to be like a regular day.
Now you go to Six Flags.
Right, now you go to Six Flags and you enjoy the holiday. It's a tzarech moed. So that was part of the reason that the Rishalmi says is why we have certain malachot that are asur, certain that are mutar. Now, we saw some last week. We talked about tzarchei rabim. If it's a tzarchei rabim for their guf, right, for their bodies, physical need, not a spiritual need. All right, a spiritual tzarchei rabim was not allowed to do malacha for, but a gufnik type of tzarchei rabim was allowed to. That we saw in the Gemara. We also saw about something that's a davar avet, something that will get lost. Meaning we don't want you to take a loss. We don't want you to lose something, lose out because of the chag. So there are certain things that you would be allowed to do if it's going to be lost. The prime example is someone will lose his job. Okay, if he doesn't go to work on Chol HaMoed, they tell him don't come back. He's allowed to go to work because he doesn't have to lose his job because of Chol HaMoed. So davar avet. The other thing that we talked about, that was everything we pretty much talked about. Now we're going to talk about Maaseh Hedyot. So we're going to see l'halacha, there's going to be a difference. Who does the malacha and or how the malacha is done. So our first source is a Mishnah in Masechet Moed Katan. Remember that the majority of the Hilchot Chol HaMoed comes from Masechet Moed Katan. So we have here a Mishnah. The Mishnah says, HaHedyot tofer kidarko. An unskilled person, so a hedyot, when it comes to the lashon of idiot, right? Not smart person or not a professional person. So a hedyot, no, tofer kidarko. He can sew, right? He can sew in a usual manner. Why? Because he's not a professional. He can sew in a usual manner. The uman machliv. However, an uman, a professional, if he has to sew on the moed, he has to do it in a way that's called machliv. Temporary, irregular. We're going to see what the Gemara says. What is a machliv? We're going to explain. Now, so now the Gemara on Yud, Amid Aleph, tells us as follows. Hechi dami hedyot. What is this case of a hedyot? So, Omar Devei Rebbe Yanai, the scholars of the Academy of Rebbe Yanai said, Kol she'eno yachol lahotzi melo machat bevat ahat. Okay? An unskilled person who sews is someone who cannot take all the strings like on one shot. Like he can't move things quickly and efficiently. He is.
I can do it.
That's it. You can do it. When was the last time you sewed? Oh, okay, so you're a professional. Me, I'm not professional. I can't get this. I can't get the string through the needle. You think I can get it through the cloth? Okay. So, kosh enu yachol lotzi malo mahat bevat achat. Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina amar, kosh eno yachol lechaven imra behepet haluko. Whoever is unable to make an even hem on the bottom of his tunic, right? To sew, you don't just put the needle through. You got to make sure you're doing it straight. Okay. So if you're not able to do it straight, you're not professional. So you're allowed to sew on Chol HaMoed. We're going to see Tzarech HaMoed if you need it for the Moed. Now, Va'uman Machliv. What about a skilled? What does this mean? My Machliv. This is Rabbi Shevach's question. What is this Machliv? What's this new word? Where do we hear from it? So Yochanan Amar Mafsia. He's doing wide steps. He's not making close stitches. He's making wide stitches. They're irregular stitches. Right. Rabba Bar Shmuel Amar Shine Kalbita. It's similar to the teeth of a dog. Apparently, dogs have wide teeth. Okay. And it's and it's also not even. The dog's teeth are up and down, up and down. So this guy, the professional, he has to make sure he's sewing in an unprofessional way. Tosafot ready says right away. Tosafot on the page says, this is source 23. It must be that there's a tzarech to do this. When the Mishnah said you're allowed to sew, it's not that I'm allowed to sew and I'm going ahead and sew. No, there's a tzarech moed. There's a reason to do this on the moed. Now it's not talking about davar avid, right? It's not, because that definitely you're allowed to do when there's a loss, and you don't need to do a shinoi there either. Okay, so that's Tosfot pointing out that it has to be tzarchei moed. Now, interestingly enough, so what's tzarchei moed? What's going on? The guy doesn't have anything else to wear, right? This is his clothing. This is what he needs to wear for the moed. That's his only suit or whatever it is. That's his only last white shirt, and that's what he needs. And he needs to get it stitched. Interesting, halakha brought down the Yalkut Yosef regarding this case. Look what he says over here. He says, hold on one second. Yeah. Give me a second. I put the wrong page in my book. There we go. 337. I put 339. Okay. I put a 7. It looks like a 9. Fine. He writes as follows. This is outside the Tzurba for a moment. In general, the rule is that if someone's garment or shoe became torn during the festival, it's forbidden to hire a professional to mend it during Chol HaMoed. What's the best mode to nowadays, especially? It is permissible, however, to purchase new shoes or garments during those days, right? Because rather than doing a tircha of sewing, shopping on Chol HaMoed for a tzarech moed, I need the shoe, I need the clothes, is definitely mutar. You're not going to go through doing it to my sehedjet or not. So therefore, he recommends, and Opus can recommend today that if you don't have anything else, go and buy your shirt, go and buy the shoes. I can't send my stuff to the dry cleaners, but I can buy a new shirt from the store. Okay. Some poskim rule that if someone's shoe or garment is seriously torn and he needs to wear it despite the tear, and therefore is likely to become torn even more until it becomes a davar of it, I'm going to lose it, right? It's semi-torn, but if I don't fix it now, I'm going to wear it, it's going to get ruined more. He may mend it. He's allowed to fix it. And it's permitted in order to prevent the loss of the item. In particular, if he goes about among people dressing this garment and he has no substitute garment, nor can he borrow a suitable garment from someone else, he may hire Jewish craftsmen to mend it. So if it becomes a davar of it and it's something that you really need, you could get, because it comes a tzarech moed, so you're allowed to get him to do it. It goes without saying, if someone's own shoes or things were torn so badly he cannot wear it, he may have his shoes repaired rather than endanger his health by walking about barefoot. If that's his only pair of shoes, and he doesn't have anything else, sakana, can't walk without it. Someone who is not trained to sew garments may mend his own garments during Chol HaMoed since his work is inferior. That's exactly what we saw. If he is a professional tailor, he may still repair his own garments, but he must make wide, uneven stitches as if he was an amateur at sewing. Okay? So it turns out if this is your only beged and you really need it, then you can get a professional to fix it, it's tzarich moed, it's davar ovid. Okay? If you can get away with purchasing something else, that's the better mode to go to. Yes.
You go to the needing it for the moed and giving it to the professional. The professional is doing it professionally, not doing it small, big stitches.
Mm-hmm.
But if I am the professional, why can I not make it in small stitches? Meaning to say professionally. I'm giving it to someone.
Right.
You're telling me, okay, I can make it professionally. And if I'm making it myself, I cannot make it professional.
Right. Right. That's exactly the halacha. Why? It's a good question.
So nobody does by hand anymore. There's machine. It does professional.
So you're saying that's what? What are you trying to say by
professional stitches, regardless, amateur or not. Maybe straight stitches is different, but machine is machine.
By hand.
No, but he's talking about by hand. Back in days, used to be by hand.
Right.
Today is machine.
You're trying to say that it's less tircha, so maybe it should be permissible to do machine.
So with machine.
You sew with the machine?
I don't sew at all. I have wife. No, I did.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, again, for most of us, we shouldn't be doing any sewing because most of us, especially, don't have one pair of clothing, one suit, or something like that, and it's easy for us to buy something, and that is what poskim say to do. If you don't have it and you need it, rather buy it than start to mend. But if you need to mend and it's covered, and the only thing you wear, instead of it, you have what to rely on. But otherwise, you can mend your own stuff unprofessionally, and the professional guy has to also do it unprofessionally. Okay, fine. Now, there is another Mishnah in Masechet Moed Katan, and this one is found on Yud Aleph, Amud Aleph. And this Mishnah says as follows. Osin ma'akeh legag ul mirpeset. We make a railing for a roof or a gallery. Ma'aseh hedyot. A non-professional way. Avalo ma'aseh uman. But not in a professional way. Shafin et hasedakin. He may smear plaster over the cracks. That's what it seems to say. Umagilin otan b'magila. And he flattens them with a roller. Bayad uvregel. By hand or by foot. Avalo b'machalatayim. But not with this tool called machalatayim. So very interesting here. It says a person needs to put up a roof, a railing for a roof or a gallery. So he puts up a fence, some sort of fence. He can do amateur work. He can smear the plaster, and then he can flatten them with a roller, hand or foot, but not with tools. So the Gemara now asks, Hey chidami maaseh hedyot. How do you have a maaseh hedyot? Rav Yosef Amar, behutza bedafna. He's making the railing with palm fronds or laurel branches, something that is like temporary, something that is a maaseh hedyot. But matnitatana. One piles stones without cementing them together with mortar. So there is somewhat of a maseh hedyot. It's not done the regular way. Now, what else did we learn? Shafin et hasidakin umagilin otam b'magila. You may smear it and flatten it with a roller, the plaster. And then the Mishnah said, Bayad uveregel. So the Gemara's question is, Hashta b'magila amart share. Now that you said you can roll it out with a roller, Bayad uveregel mibaya. Do you have any question about your hand or foot? The Mishnah said, put the plaster, use the roller, hand and foot, but not machlotayim. What's going on over here? If I can use the roller, of course I can use my hand and feet. What are you teaching me? So the Mishnah, the Gemara says, no, that's not the way you read the Mishnah. Hachika amar. Shafin tzdakin. You can put the plaster, umagilin otan ke'en magila bayad uvregel. Ma agila. Here he has a shva under the ayin. I'm reading from the Nikudot. You're putting a patach under the ayin?
Putting anything, I'm reading the word.
I'm reading it here. It has a nikudah of a shva underneath.
Magila is something else. Magila is something.
Okay, you want to say magila? Fine. Umagilin otan ke'en magila bayad uvregel. He can smear it with his hand or foot, but it can look like it was done with a roller. All right? But it cannot actually use the tool. So you have to change the wording. That's what he's saying over here. So you can put the plaster, you could smear it out, hand or foot, but you can do a good job and make it look like it's done with the roller, but it's not done with the roller. You're saying it's professional, and the Gemara says that it's not. So the question is, or you can look at it this way: is Maaseh Hedyot the action? Here it seems to be the action. I'm doing the Mayad Regel. Or is Maaseh Hedyot the result? Right? The stitches have to be uneven. Why can't they be even? I'm a regular guy. I'm not a. And there it says it has to be uneven. So there's both sides to this equation.
Give professional tool to
an amateur.
Amateur,
right?
He's gonna do amateur work even with the tool. Is that what it's saying? Or you make professional do it with hand, without the tool. Is that what it's saying?
I agree with you. So I'm not exactly sure how to touch this up. So can he use the tool? Maybe he can use the tool. He's gonna mess it up anyway. Yeah. All right. He's gonna do it himself and he's gonna break the closet. He's gonna break the refrigerator, trying to fix it. Okay. So anyway, there is this issue. There's this idea that it has to be done in a non-professional way. Whether it's the action, whether it's the result, whether it's the person, we have that. Now, what else did we see? We already saw Tosfot said it has to be for tzarchei moed. It has to be for a reason. One cannot just go ahead and start doing things in an unprofessional way if he has no reason to do it. Let me put up my fence. I have no reason to put it up. I just want to put it up because I have nothing to do with Chol Moed. And I'm an amateur. That you cannot do. Even the stuff that we allow you to do as Maaseh Hedyot has to be for tzarchei moed. Has to be for something that you need on the moed. There's another Gemara. Now we're on source 25. Yud Bet Amud Bet. And the Gemara there says as follows. Listen to this Gemara. Tanu Abanan. Tohanin b'moed l'tzorech hamoed. You're allowed to grind on Chol Hamoed flour for the moed, for Chol Hamoed, for the last 2 days of Yom Tov, whatever you need. V'shelo l'tzorech hamoed asur. But to grind flour for after the holiday, that you're not allowed to do.
Not for the sake of the festival.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, not for the sake of the festival, which means after the moment. Okay, so the guy's on Chol Hamoed, day 2 of Chol Hamoed. He has another couple of days of Chol Hamoed. He has 2 days of Yom Tov afterwards. He's allowed to ground as much flour as he needs for that moed. Even if there's a Shabbat afterwards, that's also you're allowed to ground for that. Like if you're preparing for Shabbat, that's also fine. Because it's going to, even though it's after the Chag, right after the Chag comes out, comes Shabbat, you're allowed to prepare on Chol Hamoed for that Shabbat. You're allowed to do that. That's considered part of the Chag. There's no time. But anything after that would be, you're not allowed to prepare for. So, based on the source, the poskim write that even work of a layman is only permitted during Chol Hamoed if the work is required for some purpose during the Moed. And that's the way the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch write. The sewing is permitted only if one needs that garment. Now, you bring a Shemonat Shabbat Kilchata. That even if one does not intend to wear the garment, if he can manage without it, he may not sew it during Chol Hamoed. However, if one requires a garment in order to look respectable, this is considered a legitimate need. Okay? So, two things. I really don't need this. I can get away with the whole Chol Hamoed without wearing the shirt. Then you're not allowed to sew it. Not allowed to sew it up. It's not a Tzarech Moed. But let's say it's my tie. I can get away without wearing a tie. Right? I got my shirt. I got everything else on. But as the rabbi, I need to wear the tie. Right? It's part of my uniform. Okay? At least on Shabbat and Chagim. Okay? Some rabbis wear ties all the time. I'm not there yet. Okay. So he needs to wear the tie for Shabbat Yom Tov. And Chagim needs to wear the tie. He doesn't really need it. He can get away without it. Says it's considered a legitimate need. Tzarech Moed. That's his respectable, that's his standing that he needs to wear the tie, and you're allowed to do that. Look at source 26, Mem Gimel in there. Stuff that you need to be dignified and respectable is considered a tzarech moed. Mutar la'asot b'chol hamoed ma'aseh hedyot. Im em lo yishtamesh bo b'moed. Or afilu rak. And then he says, or afilu rak safek im yishtamesh bo b'moed. So I have other ties, but I might want to wear this tie again, right? Safek, I might wear it, I might not. He allows you to get it fixed. B'maaseh hedyot.
It's only sewing. What if you have like a string that's hanging down from your suit? I can cut that string.
Yeah, that's maaseh hedyot. Maaseh hedyot. Yeah, maybe a maaseh hedyot. You're not doing anything.
You see that it applies to different levels of quality of clothing.
Like,
If I need to fix my Gucci suit,
right?
as opposed to my, I don't know, half-box standard Jewish suit.
Right.
And even though I have a regular suit,
Ah,
can I use a go fix a fancy?
yeah, one can say that. One can't say that if a person is known to walk around with a fancy Italian wool suit, and someone's going to notice that he's wearing a knockoff or something that's not legit, and that's not his standing is, then yeah, that's his covered. That's his covered. Yeah, the covered goes based on the person standing, what he is and where he is. Yeah, it's subjective. The halacha is the same. It's just who the person is, how it's applied. Now, the Tur comes up with a very interesting idea. The Tur says, now you told me that I can do on Chol Hamoed only for Tzarchei Moed. Okay? Even if for the next day of Chol Hamoed, even for the last days of Yom Tov. Says the Tur, perhaps I cannot do something for the second day of the last days of Yom Tov. Why not? If I'm grounding flour, okay, and I'm making flour for the rest of the days, says the Tur, maybe you should not be allowed to do it for the Achron Shel Pesach. Why? Because we know that it's only Minhag Avotenu B'Yadenu. It's not really Chag. We know what day Chag is. So really, it's not really a Chag. And you're only allowed to prepare for Tzarchei Moed. So then the Tur says, I'm just reading it outside, and then the Tur says, no, this is not a good idea. Because if you take a look at that second paragraph on page 238, nearly the out of the Rabbah. What's going to happen now? I'm going to tell people, you cannot prepare on Chol Hamoed for the second day of the final Yom Tov. Second day of final Yom Tov is not part of the Moed. It's a joke. Because I can't do it with Tzarchei Moed. It's not Moed. And then people will be mizazel. So the Tur gives this idea, and then he takes it right back. Okay, he's like, no, it's a good idea, but it's not a good idea. We're taking it back. You can do a Tzarchei Moed and Chol Hamoed even for Achron Shel Yom Tov.
What always I'm asking the question, what I'm asking everywhere I go, every rabbi I learn. I say, where is the Torah? They're saying the Torah we have Av Leben, all the way to Har Sinai. So we have over here questions about the Chag, how to take care of the Chag. And we have questions. We are allowed to do this, we are not allowed to do this. What is the Torah? You understand? And nobody can answer.
Let me ask you this question. We all had a Misorah. How do all our Sidurim, the Nusachot, are all so different? What happened there?
Because they live in different places.
And to make stuff even more interesting, the nusach of our tefillah is even more changed. Like it's more closer on the Chol than it is on the Yom Tovim. On the Yom Tovim, the Rosh Hashanah Machzer of Sfaradim and Ashkenazim are two different books. They're not even comparable. Right? The brachot are the same, pretty much, but the rest of it is like two different things. So obviously, there's two things here. Also, things that are not done beragil, they're not done every day, it's easier to forget. The Chol, the weekday stuff, was done every single day of the year, is easier to remember. So that's why it comes, you have questions. But you can ask this question on everything. You can ask it on anything. It doesn't really stand. Doesn't really stand. Okay. Now, Shmir Shachata writes, Sus already told you about, that the Shabbat after the Chag, that's in source 28 towards the end of the first paragraph. And he says that the Shabbat after the Chag, even though it's not Chag anymore, it's still considered part of the Chag, and you can do Tzarech HaMoed on Chol HaMoed for it. Now, here's the clincher. He writes over here. Of a Ben Eretz Yisrael that is now in Chutz La'aretz. Asur lo la'asot b'chol HaMoed kol davar letzorich yom tov sheni shel galuyot avor ben Chutz La'aretz. Okay, so here for the guy from Eretz Yisrael, our second day of Yom Tov is really nothing for him. Okay, so he cannot do on Chol HaMoed malacha for the second day of Yom Tov for us, because for him it's no more Moed, and on Chol HaMoed you can only do Tzarech HaMoed, and for him it's not Moed anymore. So you can't put this Israeli guy to grind your flour on Chol HaMoed because it's not for him the second day. Good.
Is already kadosh, and if he's cooking for us for a day, it's not kadosh for him. Is that he's going down, not going up?
Agreed. Okay, very good. All right, now we're going to move into the next section of that, which is food preparation and other physical needs on the Chol HaMoed. We already know that on Yom Tov you can do Ochel Nefesh, right? You can do the preparation of food to an extent. Yeah. Now on Chol HaMoed we can do even more. How much can we do? So let's take a look at a Gemara that gives us the source for this halakha. And this is on Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph. And it says here as follows. Let's take a look. Rabbi Yehuda, Sharei Le'ami Tanura. Rabbi Yehuda ruled it's permissible for Ami, the oven maker, Lemigdal Tanure, to build new ovens on Chol HaMoed. So he's not just making food; he's building the oven to make the food. Okay. Ul Rabba Bar Ashbi, and he said to Rabba Bar Ashbi that he's allowed to Lemigdal Mohalata, to make sieves, tools that are used in cooking. Okay. Right. So here's the question: Aini, is it really so that you can make a new oven on the Chag, on the Moed, the Chol HaMoed? V'hatana Rabbi Bar Shmuel v'shavin she'en godlin tanu lechatchila, and they agree that one may not initially make an oven on Chol HaMoed.
Doesn't have to know. It's like it's a
so what's the machloket? Like kasha says the Gemara, it's not a question. Can be mota hama, can be mota gishamim. When you make a new oven, especially their ovens, put stone, you put plaster. You have to wait for everything to dry in order for it to be usable.
So it's not right away.
Ah, very good. So in the summer, meaning Pesach, if it's very hot outside, you can make it on Chol HaMoed because you know by the time that it's going to dry up and ready to use, you can already use it and it's still going to be the Moed. So you can make it on Chol HaMoed. But on Sukkot, where you're closer to the winter time, where it's going to take more time for it to become ready, and it's likely that it's not going to be ready on the Moed, then you cannot make it on the Moed. That's what the Gemara says. Look, Kasha, okay.
If you use clay, you can right away put fire in it to dry it up.
You asked any question on the Metzias. I don't know the way the Gemara explained it. The Gemara said that
different kind of clay. I think takes a long
you have to get time to dry. And it was part of it.
They didn't have like cement like we have today.
No,
Cement
no,
or something
I'm
like
saying
that.
the clay, you can put fire
I
inside. So
understand. The clay was you, but maybe they had a different one.
Okay, now the Ramban. So now we're looking at Nachmanides. The Ramban explains that if activities such as these are required for food preparation, they may be performed even in a professional manner. Even allowed to do maseh u'mayim, allowed to do professional during Chol HaMoed. However, activities such as making nets in order to catch meat or fish are a stage further. The such things may not be done in professional manner on Chol HaMoed. So says the Rambam. In short, in Katzro Shel Davar, Ochel Nefesh u'machshirei Ochel Nefesh kulan maturin betarach v'melechet uman. You're allowed to do it with effort. You're allowed to do it with professional, everything the way I explained. If it's not making the food or a preparation for making the food, what is he making here? What's ksut? Clothing. V'kelim, or utensils. V'melechet uman aserot. U'v'hedyot hetirot. So says the Ramban, what are you allowed to do on Chol HaMoed more than Yom Tov? It's machshirei ochel nefesh, preparations for ochel nefesh. Now, what about nets? And making a net, since it's professional work, they forbade it. They made it asur. Shasur mishum demaseh umanhu, because it's considered. Listen to what he says. Shelo chashvu otan k'machshirei ochel nefesh, aval machshirin et machshirav hen. Their preparation of ochel nefesh. So there's three stages here. There's ochel nefesh, there's machshirei ochel nefesh, and then there's machshirei ochel nefesh. That's right. It's too far removed. But exactly what is machshirei ochel nefesh? Like, how do you define that? So the Ramban is saying nets. Nets are not ochel nefesh. The ochel nefesh is the oven where I'm making the food, okay? But to catch the fish, that's machshirei ochel nefesh. It's two stages removed, okay? The oven is a machshirei, and the food you're cooking is ochel nefesh, and the net is machshirei, and therefore that's not allowed to make maaseh umah.
What about knife?
So knife is machshirei ochel nefesh. I need it to cut the food.
You cut the food, and then you need oven to cook in it.
Oven is machshirei ochel nefesh. Refrigerator is machshirei ochel nefesh. What about the countertop?
You are not allowed to do countertop.
So we're let's go through. Let's take a look. Shmirat, so he's right. So Shmirat is going to say that the countertop is machshirei ochel nefesh, and you can't get maaseh umah on that. All right, take a look.
What?
Use the floor.
You should think about it before the time.
Oh, we used to use it on the floor.
Okay, take a look. Page 240. Page 240, source 31. Shmirat Shabbat kilchata. Lo raket hamalachot l'tzorach ochel nefesh. Ela gam malachot b'machshirei ochel nefesh. All right? You're allowed to do even the preparation things. What does this mean? Kol malachot she'en na'asot b'guf hadavar she'nehenu mimenu. It's not done to the item itself. The knife is doing something to itself, right? But you're allowed to do it. Rather, repair utensils because it is machshirei. What's an example? Sharpening a knife, repairing a gas stove, fixing the stove, repairing the kitchen faucet, water, repairing the refrigerator, or repairing the mixer. All of these are considered machshirei ochel nefesh, and you're allowed to fix them on the moed.
How's the drain connected?
I need water.
No drain.
I need to get the dirty water out. Okay. I don't know. He said the faucet. He didn't say the drain. He said the faucet. The water I need. The drain might be. You're right. Maybe machshirei. Right. It becomes the sakana if they don't get it out. That is true. A person that then he writes further. He's allowed to do it. He doesn't make any shinoi. Just does it as he does it on a regular day. Now we're going to talk about the machshire. There's a hevdilu chazal bedin machshir achol nefesh b'melacha b'davar shemachshir et ha'machal achila kagoin tikoin. Okay, now he brings something that directly facilitates food preparation, like the gas stove, and in contrast, b'melacha b'davar that's done she'emnam tzichon l'loichol. It does not make the food ready to eat. And what's his example? Kegon sulam hataun tikun. The guy has the pantry and he has a ladder there. And on top of the pantry, he has stuff that he needs to get. No. You can't fix that ladder. That's a machshire. That you cannot fix a chol hamoed. Or shulchan she'ochlim alav. Or a table that you eat on that broke and you need to fix it. That's a machshire. Because you don't need it to prepare the food. It's machshire.
What about if he doesn't have another day?
And then he writes also repairing a car, which is needed to transport the food. It does not affect the food itself. And therefore only could do maaseh hedyot, and you cannot do maaseh uman. You cannot fix it. Yeah.
But I know if you look at the halachot, the Chol HaMoed, he's allowed people to give their car to be fixed, because today you need a car to live.
That's a different story. We're talking about the car for the food.
Well,
The car, as you're saying, sakana, then my tzarchei moed, I need to go to the trip, something else. It's a different story.
there is such a section like you need a car for the you're not gonna have simchat Chol HaMoed, simchat HaMoed.
It's not that simple fixing your.
If you don't have a
It's not so simple fixing your car on Chol HaMoed. It's not that simple. Anyway, he writes over here, you can repair a refrigerator that has become broken during the holiday. You can call a technician to fix the refrigerator as it preserves the food as machshir echol nefesh. However, it's forbidden to repair a kitchen countertop in a professional manner, even if it was broken on Chol HaMoed, because the surface top is not a machshir echol nefesh, it's a machshir. So, maaseh hedyot, right? No. Good. Very good. So here you have the machshir echol nefesh. You can fix with maaseh uman with the professional work. That's fine. The machshir echol nefesh, maaseh hedyot, and that's it. Right.
Don't bring somebody
Right.
professional.
Okay, take a look here in the next section, 241. Yeah. You're a handyman?
Yeah.
Okay,
I fix these.
right.
Oh, I will try as a master. So,
Well, you look for other people or you look for yourself?
I wouldn't be a handyman.
Oh.
Talk about on Chol HaMoed. On Chol HaMoed. Right. So do you consider yourself professional?
No. I tell the people that my work is between yeshivas, the professional, and my price is between yeshivas.
Here, so you're equal. Okay, you get what you pay for. So there's a couple of things. So a couple of things. A lot of times the work that they call you for can be considered davar of it. If you don't fix it, it can get worse. It's a loss, and therefore you're allowed to do it. Also, if you can say that you need the money, right? You need the money for the chag. It's going to help you enjoy chag better. Then you can also do the job. So there are ways around it. But if you don't need the money and it's not davar of it, and it's not something that is a machshir ochel nefesh, right? It's not the refrigerator or something else, then you shouldn't do it.
Like a power wash is kind of.
Yeah,
It's
it's not needed on the chag. Right.
So if he needs the income.
If he needs the income, yes, you can still hire him for that.
For the Jew?
Yes. That's the biggest form of tzedakah, is giving somebody a job. Okay.
For the Jewish person is allowed
So,
to use
I mean, you could go around and find someone who needs money for everything and then get him to do all your work. That's not what HaMoed is, but technically, yes. Okay. Says Rav David Zucker and Rav Moshe Francis, certain household tasks are considered tzarchei moed and are permissible in Chol Moed. Washing the floors in the house, tzarch moed, right? Things get dirty, it gets sticky. Yeah, tzarch moed. Vacuuming the carpet. So if the ladies tell you we're not going to vacuum the carpets, right, because it's moed, tell them it's not true. Tzarch moed. Certain household improvements, though not requiring skill. That's also here. He brings the question about nailing a picture into the wall. Can I put up a picture frame? So Rabbi Francis or Rabbi David Zucker, they actually say it's forbidden. Others permit. The Sephardi poskim allow to put a nail into the wall and put up a picture. It's a small job, it's nothing professional, there's nothing to it. That's allowed to do in Chol Moed. That's allowed to do. I understand. A lot of people like us, we grew up in the city, and you had a tenant, we had a superintendent or something like that. Anything happened, you call them. A lot of us don't know how to even turn. The house has a main switch to shut off the water. It has a main breaker for the. Nobody knows. A lot of people who grew up in the city and in buildings, especially when they come, they don't know how. They have no idea what to do. So putting up stuff, also they don't know how to do.
John once said I had to hang up in the house, and I asked the wife. I said, "What does your husband do?" He put an implant. Put implants. You need me to screw.
Until I got my own house, I didn't want to put up anything. And then I learned. You come around, you can see holes everywhere. And I figured out there's studs. You got to find the studs when you want to mount something correctly strong. You have the anchors to use, and you start learning all the lingo and stuff like that because they keep calling you to come. You got to figure it out yourself.
I still do the plaster walls. Those are much harder.
Right. So you have plaster walls. But also, I had the super. I wanted to pick everything up. You call him to come to the building to the apartment. You give him $5. He does everything for you. He put in lights for me. He put in this. He put in that. Give him $10, $15. Everything was done. Off the books. We just paid the guy. He put up a shed to live for me. So I really didn't know anything. And now you got your own house. You figured it out. The other thing, I'll just say when I own my own house, so I started paying attention to sounds. When you live in a building and you hear sounds, it's coming from the next door neighbor. You don't care. Everything is coming from somewhere else. You come to your new house and all of a sudden you hear, you're like, okay, I can't ignore this because it's a single family detached, right? Like it's your house is making noise. It's not your neighbor's apartment. Right. You got to figure it out. The house is saying help. Right. So the guys who are living in the building, Malkiel, you have it good. You have it good. You can get away with a lot of stuff there. Okay. You can flush everything down the toilet. You can't do that in the house. I learned that the first month in. Okay. We always flush the wipes and everything in the apartment building. We came to the house. We flush. I'm like, what type of house is this? 1 month in, it's not working anymore. They called the sewer guy. He's like, what is all these wipes in there? It's like, okay. Now he put up signs in all the bathrooms. I told her anything in the toilet. It does. Okay. Anyway, it's not here or there. Let's continue. Continues the Tzurba, and he says halacha from the Mishnah in Moed Katan, and the Isha can put on makeup on Chol Moed. Oh, I have a cup. Yeah. So the woman, a lot of times there is malacha of putting on makeup, saveya, it's coloring, but on Chol Moed, it's considered a tzarech moed, and the woman can go ahead and put on all the makeup. There's no issue of malacha for makeup on Chol Moed. No. Ma karaim hamoed. Ma karaim hamoed. Nah. So you missed last week's shir where I gave a whole taich and what it means chol shel moed. It's really moed. It's still moed. That's what it says chol shel moed. It's the chol of the moed, not chol. It's chol de moed. There's mashu aher. So don't chol. It's chol de moed. Chol shel moed. Okay. Anyway, that's there. Okay, says the Ritva, why allowed to put on makeup? Perish is that tzarech haguf. Who? Michein oichel nefesh. And putting on makeup is like oichel nefesh. Lefika chayse kedarka. No shinoi or tir charaba. And she can spend as much time as she needs putting on the makeup, much effort. whatever she needs to do, that is 100% permissible for that to do. Yes, consider Eichel Nefesh for the lady. Yeah. Yeah. Putting on makeup, consider Eichel Nefesh on Chol Hamoed. Not on Chag. Anyway, let's just take a look outside for a minute in the statement of the next song. Why?
Because the Ochel Nefesh, the Torah says about the Chag. Now you bring a Chol and different Ochel Nefesh.
Eichel Nefesh on Chol Hamoed. Okay, very good. Okay, I wanted to take a look. 1 second over here. Here we go. Interesting things. He writes over here every next song. He gives a nice list of halachot based on what we just learned. Home repairs that normally require an electrician, a carpenter, or a plumber may not be made on Chol Hamoed by either a skilled professional or a capable homeowner. Okay?
If it's not emergency.
Some repairs may be made when needed on the Moed with a valid shinui. What's some examples? A dysfunctional toilet. Okay? Toilet's acting up. All right? So you need it. It may be even repaired in a skilled manner, since it's essential to a person's physical welfare. Can't leave all the thing inside there. So it's considered you need it done, person's health, and you're allowed to fix it. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach brought down that one may not call a plumber to fix one sink if one has water in the house in another room. But the Ashrei Ha'ish, he permits one to have the sink fixed with a Maaseh Uman, even though one has another water source in the house and only needs to be slightly inconvenienced to get the water from another room. So if I have one sink is working, one's not, it's Machloket Achronim, yes or no. Next, if one's fence or the lock to his door broke, and one is afraid of sustaining a loss from theft or vandalism, he may have it professionally repaired on Chol Hamoed. Sakana. And my door is not locked. Anyone can walk in there. And by the way, there have been videos recently posted here that people are walking up to front doors at 2 o'clock in the morning to check if it's open. So please make sure all your doors are locked. Next, one may professionally fix something that is necessary to prepare food for the Moed, like we talked about, the refrigerator and the mixer and all those other things. Person is feeling very cold because his heater is not working. Sometimes Sukkot, it gets very cold, right? He may have it professionally repaired on Chol Hamoed. You're allowed to have it professionally repaired. Because it's sakana again, cold. Someone's cell phone broke. It's Chol Hamoed. Rabbi Shevach is correct. It's considered a necessity, and it might be dangerous not to have a cell phone. And therefore, you're allowed to have it fixed even professionally on Chol Hamoed. Okay. One may fix a clogged toilet with a plunger. If one cannot fix it on his own, he can call a professional. It's starting to smell and everything. You can get a professional. Nailing a picture frame up to nail or hook may be banged into the wall to hang a picture, so this is not considered a professional act. And also because home decorating is considered kavod of the Chag. Kavod HaMoed. So you're allowed to put on pictures, although the other poskim say no. Some say yes, some say no. We say yes. It's kavod HaChag to put up these pictures. However, you're not allowed to do a paint job on Chol Hamoed. And almost not allowed to put paint. No paint. That's already not. Yeah, that's already too much. That's a big tircha. That's not permissible. Polishing silver. It's okay. All right, it's okay. You're allowed to polish silver. The girls like to say, "Nah, it's Chol Hamoed. How can I do it?" No, you can do it.
Why you not? That could wait another.
Tzarech Chag. Tzarech Hamoed. A shiny silver cup. But I did it before the first days of Chag. Now I want it before the last days of Chag. All right. Now that's a whole big job. It's a whole big thing. Interesting. He writes here last halacha. He writes on this topic. He says permitted to copy a house key on Chol Hamoed if there is a need to do so. So you want to give someone a copy of your house key, you're allowed to get a copy if you need it. Interesting, he brought this down. Okay, but those are just some of the ideas that came out from our topic here. It says, I believe, is a Moroccan fellow, Rabbi Yonatan Nakson. I have not met him in person, but I read his works and he did a very good job. He does. However, I have to tell you, even though he writes here based on the rulings of the Shulchan Aruch and HaMoed Yosef, I found multiple times where he writes halacha in a way that is not like HaMoed in multiple scenarios. So even though he says that he does, the majority of the time he does, 98% he does. But there are many times where he words it in such a way that you don't even know that HaMoed is arguing with him. But if you go through the sugya and you look at the sources, you'll see that he takes a different approach. Anyway, let's see if we have a few more minutes, what else we can touch over here. Okay, this is a short one, so we should be able to finish it. We're on page 242. On page 242, in the Tzurba, it tells us that one may not move his possessions from house to house during Chol HaMoed, but he may move it from his house to the Chatzar. Okay, that's what the Mishnah says. And the Gemara asks, but didn't you say in the first that one may not move it, meaning not allowed to move it at all? So how is the Mishnah removing it from the house to the Chatzar? In the later clause, we come to the case of moving from the house to that same courtyard, meaning it's not far. It's right there. I'm not going from one house to another house. I'm going from right here to right outside. So it's a small job.
It's not because he needs the space.
No, he's doing a small job. He's not moving a lot. Okay. So
from the store to the house.
You need it. You need it for the Chag. You need it for the Chag, you need it for the Chag. We're talking about the guy who has no really need for it. He wants to take out his table and take it outside to the backyard. Could do that? Yeah, small thing. He wants to do it from one house to another house, asur. It's too big of a job. That's what the Ritva explains in source 36. The Tamad Deresha, the ruling, the first reading, is O Mishum Tircha, either because of Tircha, it's too much effort, we don't want you to put too much work into Chol HaMoed, or Mishum de Mechazek of Din Decho, because it looks like a weekday activity. V'lefikach hitiru b'seifa, and therefore moving it from your house to the backyard is okay. Deleka tircha v'lo farhesia, since there's no real tircha, it's just a small move, and it's not done in the public. Doesn't mechsek of the nechol. Yeah.
He must bring some tables to his house.
Okay, that's fine. That's tzarich moed. That's tzarich moed.
That's tzarich moed.
Yeah, tzarich moed. That's fine.
But he's going to bring it from a different house.
Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch. Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch, source 37. Shulchan Aruch says you don't move from chatzar to chatzar. Afilu, even from an unattractive one to an attractive one. From the bad-looking one to the nice one. And you don't vacate his residence or move his belongings that are not needed for the moed. But you're allowed to move we may move it from house to house within the same courtyard. But so if it's in that same, remember they used to have houses leading to one front place. So if I'm going from one to here and it's close by, it's no tircha, and that would be okay. That's the way the Mishnah Berurah explains that moving one's possession is forbidden because of tircha yetera, because it's too much work.
He's talking about mefanet called beto.
Moving the house, moving, yeah.
Moving the house. This is no. The moving things like he need the press or whatever. It's maybe it is a mutar.
Can you move it?
So take a look at the last two lines of the Aruch HaShulchan. He writes over here, the tircha gedoylahi. All right, it's a big tircha, and then and therefore he'll miss out on enjoying Yom Tov. Okay, so he's going to be not having simcha. He's going to have a lot of tircha, and he can't do it.
To move from one house to another house with everything what you have is a huge tircha. For sure.
Okay.
He's being evicted.
Oh, he's being evicted. He's being evicted. Take a look at the Shmirat Shabbat Gilchata, and you'll see where I'm coming. Page Source 39. Asur la'avur dira b'chol ha'moed. You're not allowed to move from one apartment to the next apartment. Ela imken over midira schora lidira mishilo. That's the halacha everyone holds. If I'm moving from a rented one to my own one, I'm allowed to do it. Why is that? Why is that? It doesn't say here, but why is that allowed? Right. It's a big simcha to be in your own place than rather renting. No more paying money to the ear, but rather keeping it as an asset. Hakol lefi naot ene hamore. The Hamorah, the Rav. Basically, you have to ask the rabbi what you can or can't do. You're not allowed to move something heavy, not just the entire house. Anything that's considered a tircha yetera, excessive effort, you're not allowed to move. Mishum tircha. Okay? Due to the effort involved, if they are currently in a safe place, meaning it's fine in my house and I want to take it out, but it's a heavy table, I cannot do it. A lot of those tables you're talking about, the folding table, are not so heavy. You can move them. It's not a problem.
No, but it says even if they are in a safe place.
Yeah.
But if they are not in a safe place,
No one's arguing about that. That's of course why that goes back to davar avid. You're gonna admit you're gonna be a loss. Now take a look now in that bold section on page 244. Kol sheyeshbo ledat chazal mishum tircha meruba asur la'asoto b'chol hamoed. That's the din. Anything that can be considered tircha meruba is asur. Painting is tircha meruba.
To move folding the table.
It's not a problem.
It's
not a problem. I'm talking about the dining room table, and I want to take it.
From one house to another house, it's okay.
That's okay.
You have a car, you put in the car, you go.
We don't want him to lose out. Therefore, we didn't let it. Gives an example: dyeing, tying, untying knots. The kinds of whole pieces are written when not used for the HaMoed. Same applies to other melachot. But there's no problem with taking from reshut to reshut, and there's no tchum halacha on the tchumin halacha on Chol HaMoed that doesn't exist. And you're allowed to do tefillat kelim on Chol HaMoed, and you're allowed to make a havarat ha'esh on Chol HaMoed. All of those are okay. Those are not considered problematic. And I already spoke that out loud. Okay, so anything that could be considered a tircha meruba, any tircha meruba at all, would be forbidden to do on Chol HaMoed. So you whatever was considered excessive effort, have to really schwitz it out and really do a lot, is not allowed to be done. So going under the car to try to fix it from underneath, and it's like a whole schlep, that's really a tircha meruba. That's not, if not needed, if not a sakana or anything else, davar oven, then one would not be able. Okay, I did plan to finish the section, but we didn't get through all of it. Next time. Oh, last but not least, a quick scheduling note. Next week, there are multiple community events. Okay, there's a wedding, there's a shloshim, there's this coming Sunday.
Who's making
Coming Sunday. Next week Sunday, Pinchas's daughter is getting married on Sunday in Tarrytown. So that the wedding is going to be there, and then the Avner is having the shloshim earlier that day. I also have another askara of a year of my great uncle. So there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I'm not going to be anywhere.
So we're going to postpone. We're going to have the Beinas Man in 1 week. All right. We're going to have one Sunday off. We had a couple Sundays in the past, but we'll have this Sunday off. This is a pre-planned off Sunday. So if you're not going to any event, do chazara and go back to everything learned. But everyone else is going to community stuff. Enjoy the simcha, and you should see more.
saying goodbye for a week?
But next Sunday we're not. Thursday we're gonna have share. Sunday we're not gonna have share. Okay, fine. Shavua totally cool. Yeah, sure.